Welcome to Lesson 1.1, Understand the Duties of a System Administrator. In this first lesson, we're going to understand exactly what a system administrator functions in an organization. We're also going to understand where a system administrator fits in the greater ecosystem of an IT organization. One of the first responsibilities of a system administrator is provisioning new user accounts. Those accounts might exist on a Linux system itself or on applications that run within a Linux system. What I have on the screen here is an example of a command. You'll notice a hash mark or a pound sign on the first two lines of the command. This simply indicates that it's a comment. The next line shows a $sign, indicating that this is a shell command that you can run in the terminal. In this example command, we're adding a new user. This user's name is bwhaley, and the user ID is 1001. The user has a home directory of /home/bwhaley and a shell of /bin/bash. This is the type of command that you might use when provisioning a new account. Another responsibility of a system administrator is adding and removing hardware from the system. This might be new disks, storage devices, network devices, or other peripherals attached to a Linux system. This example command shows the partition table for any disk attached to the system. Sudo fdisk-l is how you might pronounce this particular command. Performing backups is a critical responsibility of a system administrator. In the event that data is lost due to some catastrophic failure, such as crash of a hard disk or a data center flood or a similar disaster, backups and restores are an essential function. Here's an example command of creating a compressed archive backup of a specific path on disk. This is a very common way to compress and archive a large amount of files on the file system using tar. Installing and upgrading software is another common task of system administration. You'll need to release new packages, update the system for security vulnerabilities, or install new software as requested by users. This example command, which we'll learn more about, updates all of the packages on a Red Hat type of Linux system. One responsibility you'll have is to monitor the system to ensure that it's performing and at an acceptable level for users. Top is one command used to monitor the system. It shows CPU statistics, memory usage, and how processors are using the system. Monitoring is a deep and complex, involved task and often involves many systems collaborating in order to collect data. Troubleshooting problems is a common task that you'll find in day-to-day administration. You'll use various network utilities and system utilities to identify bottlenecks in the system and problems that might occur as you are going about your daily system administration duties. The example command I've chosen for the troubleshooting step is tcpdump. tcpdump is packet capture software used to capture network statistics. In this particular command, we're showing all TCP packets on the HTTP web port, which is commonly used as port 80, and also showing UDP packets on port 53, which is used for DNS traffic. As a system administrator, you'll need to maintain site documentation in order to educate other people on your team and throughout the organization about how you've set up the system. The documentation might take the form of wiki pages, of Word or Google documents, web pages, or whatever your team agrees is the best way to keep system stakeholders and yourself informed about how the system operates. Remember, just because you set something up once doesn't mean you'll remember exactly how that was done 3 months down the road. You might need a reminder just for yourself. Maintaining site security is of absolute paramount importance. One security compromise can damage the reputation of a business permanently. A system administrator is in a key position to ensure that the data is kept confidential, is kept with high integrity, and is kept available and up for users to use at all times. There are many tools and entire professions dedicated to keeping security intact. This is one example Linux command of doing what's known as a port scan on the network. In this particular example, we're port scanning the example where the system www.example.com resides. All of the /24 network of this host will be scanned. We're also going to try to guess what the operating system is of the remote system. This is a common way to determine what your exposure is on the network and how an attacker might leverage the network to gain a foothold. And of course, the daily site operational duties will consume a lot of your time as a system administrator. You'll field requests from incoming users, need to firefight problems, and use all of the tactics in the previous slide to understand exactly how your site is being operated. You'll have to communicate with many interested parties around the organization and ensure that you're meeting the organization's goals. As a system administrator, you'll interface with lots of other people on your team. Here's a few of the types of people that you'll be working with in your day-to-day system administration duties. One is administrators of other operating systems. This might be Windows administrators, or Unix administrators, or Mac administrators. You'll also be interfacing with network administrators. A network administrator's duty is to ensure that the network is configured correctly for systems to run on. They're the people that manage routers, switches, and connections to internet service providers. You'll be working with DBAs, also known as database administrators. These individuals maintain the persistent stores on the network, things like Oracle databases, or MySQL or Postgres, or other persistent data stores. Application developers are a key stakeholder for your system. They are the people that write the code that run the sites running on the Linux system. You'll definitely interface with site reliability and NOC engineers. These individuals have a primary focus of keeping the site up and available at all times. They often sit in a dedicated room with monitors mounted on the wall and watch the monitors for any delays or problems in the site operation. You'll work with and interface with security ops, also known as SecOps. These people use security tools to maintain and ensure the security of the data on the network. You'll need to work with these individuals to install new tools and to make sure that the tools are meeting their needs. You'll interface with storage administrators, whose primary goal is maintaining SAN and NAS and other remote storage devices and mass storage devices as they reside on the network. Finally, you'll also work with data center technicians. These individuals receive new hardware as it's unboxed and mounted in racks and cabled throughout the data center. Maintain a tight relationship with all of the different individuals in this slide, and you'll ensure the success of your IT organization as a whole.